Hi, I'm Alexa, and Everton gave us something to talk about today. So let's talk about it. We played at Fulham today, and we won 3-1, or I guess 1-3 if you want to be precise. And it was a good game from my perspective, from Everton's side of things. They opened the scoring. We don't like that, but they did. They opened the scoring around the 18th. I think it was technically the 18th minute, 17 and change. Not much Pickford could really do from a header from 6-7 yards out. Definitely felt a little bit scrappy at the beginning. Definitely they've had some good chances throughout the game. Iwobi, he used to play for us. He has moments of just pure brilliance. He's a very good player. We loved him as an Everton on the Everton team. Get a little frustrated but I don't think it was just him with our lack of goals over the years. But he was definitely, obviously it's my opinion because I'm the one talking, but I thought he was a good Everton player, and I appreciated him when he was in the blue shirt. I like to see players who they seem to be like good people, right? There's some players who just are not good people, and you can tell, and there's some players who just sort of tend to be good people. They seem to be good people. I like to see them succeed, and just not against Everton when we play them. So kind of excited that he didn't get a wonder goal, which he could do, knowing him as we do. The person who got their goal, the commentators were all, oh, he hasn't had a goal in 8 games. That's okay. He's playing Everton. Of course he's going to score, right? Like every time every time a player hasn't done XYZ in X number of games, it's like, that's okay. Come and play Everton. We'll help them out. Why not? We love helping other people. So I think that player was called Raul. I don't pay much attention to other teams. I don't care. Like, I support Everton, and I know there are people who like to learn everything they can about every team in the league and who we're playing, which players they have. I don't have time for it. I really focus on Everton, and I just think about and talk about them. So knowing Iwobi was because he was an Everton player, right? There are some players that you just undeniably cannot not notice. So, for example, Garnacho is one. He's a good player. Any team that plays against, he plays for Man U, right? Anyone who plays against him, like, you're going to notice him. He's one of those players. There's some that I know more from, like, the England team realm. I do look at the national teams. So, Cole Palmer, he's certainly a young talent for England. There's others we could talk about. Absolutely others we could talk about. Bellingham, I mean, he doesn't play in the Premier League, though, so don't really get to see him week in and week out when Everton play them. That being said, let's talk about the Everton goals. So our opening goal came right before halftime, which meant we went into the changing rooms, the dressing rooms, level. Always a good thing. Mikolenko, we had a corner, and it kind of bounced around, came out to him, and he just wailed at it. And from the looks of it, the goalie actually would have had it covered if it had not deflected off at Dukes. And I think it was Dukes. So we got really lucky on that goal, because I do think the goalie would have had it covered if it hadn't deflected back to, it would have been the right from behind the goal. So if you're looking from behind the goal, the goalie was jumping left and it was going left, and then it deflected right. We'll take it. We'll take it however they do it, right? Like, we will take the goals. Then, obviously, halftime, after the break, we fast forward to, I want to say it was the 70th minute officially when it went in. It was somewhere in that 69, 70 minute range. And I didn't even realize who he was playing. I hadn't. This is so bad. I admit this. I didn't even realize Keane was on the field. I was not quite awake this morning. I didn't look at the team sheet. I didn't do any of that. I was just sort of watching Blue on the screen run around, right? And all I could think was like, this dude, man, this dude, he has had such a dichotomous sort of career with us. I can think of some of the just heartbreaking mistakes, unforced errors that this guy has had. But I can also think of some really, really big goals. And he's a defender. Defenders don't normally get goals, right? He has come up at some real clutch moments and scored for us. And they're so different feelings, and they're the same player. I think a lot of Everton fans might understand what I'm saying when I say that. You don't know what you're getting when Michael Keane is on the pitch. And normally, most of the games, obviously, it's sort of just a solid, dare I say, boring. Like, there's nothing noteworthy about most of the appearances. You get, like, just solid, dependable appearances. And then you get either these massive mistakes or these massive goals. And now this one isn't quite the massive goal like some of the ones he's had in the past. But I was thinking he wasn't playing for a while. I think someone got injured either last weekend or pretty recently. The weeks have been blurring together. I can't believe it's May 10th already. This year has gone by so much faster than every other year. It keeps doing that every year to me. But yeah, I remember he was subbed in, and I had that sort of feeling like, oh, what are we gonna get today, right? The good, the bad, or the God, there's a word and I'm thinking of it. It's not unimportant, but it's just meh. It's just like unmentionable. Like it doesn't require a mention. It'll come to me later tonight, and I'll be like, that's the dang word. But he scored today. So we like that. And then VAR got involved. And I don't think it needed to take 3 minutes. They were allegedly checking for impediment on the goalkeeper, I think. I didn't really see what they were talking about. I don't understand why it took that long to try and decide that, no, there was none. Then they did check for offsides, which they do for all goals, and that seemed to take like 30 seconds, not long at all. And luckily, no offside on Charlie Alcaraz, and the goal stood. So great. 3 minutes wasted, VAR. Fulham obviously restart, and this is a true story. I was watching them. It goes back to sort of their side. They start going forwards. I kind of turn away. So my thing is over here where I was watching it, and I turned over here. And literally 6 seconds, we got the ball, and I start seeing Blue running the other way. So it would have been to my right as I was watching the screen. And just as I'm like, why is a Blue running the other way? We just started running towards our goal, right? I turn just as the ball goes in the net. I was like, what the heck just happened? Like, that was seconds. Beto got a beautiful pass, and I forget who passed it to him. I think it was Alcaraz, but I might be wrong on that one. Beautiful through pass, and was gone. Just gone. Fulham had no time to even notice it, let alone react. Beautiful game, beautiful goal. Just what else can you say? More of those, please, more of those, more beautiful goals. But yeah, then they played it back, and I was watching the time, and 6 seconds from taking it off of Fulham at the halfway line to it being in the net. That's incredible. The final thing on the game was, I don't remember what time it was, but VAR stopped the play, or the play stopped and they were looking at it, and called the ref over to review when they're only meant to do that when it's a clear and obvious error. The ball was kicked and the defender had been running and his arm came out and he was pulling his arm down and away to go behind him, and the ball hit his arm as it was moving down and away. That's not an intentional handball. It wasn't an unnatural position from the way he was running. His arm never moved towards the ball. I do not understand how VAR thought that was a clear and obvious error to tell the ref to go and watch it. Now, I don't have the exact statistic because it's changed since last time I heard it, but if the ref is called over to the monitor to review something, it is an insane amount of times that they overturn it. Even if they shouldn't, they will overturn it almost every single time. Thankfully, honestly, I was watching the ref as he was watching the screen, and I was thinking, I'm like, he's literally saying, that's not an obvious error. Why? Like, I was like, in his brain, his body language was exactly what I was saying. It was like, his arm's moving away. That's not an obvious. Why did you call me over? Like, I was like, thank God this ref stuck to his guns and said, no, my on-field call was right. That's not a clear and obvious error. He wasn't intentionally trying to do it. I just don't understand why VAR called him over for that in the first place, because there's no way it was a clear and obvious error. I was actually talking to my dad a little bit, and he is a Reds fan. And we sometimes talk stuff, and we'll talk about the different games. So he watched the second half, because I don't know what he was watching before that, but he watched the second half of our game. And he agreed it absolutely wasn't a handball. And he didn't know why VAR. I don't think he knew why VAR had called the ref over either. It just sort of takes away from what a good game we had for, in my mind, for that to happen, because it happens too often. And then the fact that most of the referees who get called over do not have the wherewithal to say, no, my on-field decision was right. It is not a clear and obvious error. My call sticks. The fact that most of them don't have the wherewithal to do that, I think it's a very it needs to be addressed. I think that VAR has pros and it has cons, and I think that keeping it so it can overturn clear and obvious errors is a good thing. And there have been times where we have benefited from it overturning an error. We have. I think every team has. But that doesn't mean that we cannot call for it to get better and constant improvement, right? So there has to be more in there to help make it better. There has to be accountability on the ref side. If you know there are going to be no consequences for you making a mistake, you're going to keep making mistakes. There's no impetus for you to get better. So that was it just frustrates me. It was not a clear and obvious error, right? It wasn't. I've seen games, and not just Everton games, where VAR spends 5 minutes trying to determine if something was a clear and obvious error. I'm like, if you're having to spend that much time to try and figure it out, it's not. It should be literally within 30 seconds you can tell it was an error of the 30 seconds of replay. That's it. That's all you get. Was it an obvious error? Why are you spending 5 minutes trying to go from every single angle to see? Like, it's obviously not a clear and obvious error if you have to have the one single angle at, 0.25 speed to see it. It's ridiculous. So I think I've just spent about 4 minutes talking about VAR because it's very frustrating. One point my dad made was that Everton looked energized. And I wrote back, or we were texting, and I was basically saying, they look like they enjoy it again. They look like they enjoy playing, that they enjoy playing together, that they're just having fun. And it has been so long since our team has looked that way. The last time we sort of had it a little bit, I think, under Lampard, Ancelotti. I thought that the team was starting to get back to the basics of why are you here? Why do you like football? Not talking about the money. Why do you play football? Like, do you enjoy it? Moyes coming in as the manager, the Friedkin group, the change in ownership, massive difference. And I think it's more to do with the Friedkin group, but I think that Moyes coming in basically at the same time really helped sort of, and a lot of the leadership was changed, right? The Friedkin group put their own people in at the top, chairman kind of positions and down. It's made a difference. Moyes grew so much in the 10 plus years away from Everton. He certainly was riding very high, being picked by Sir Alex, and then he fell very far, and there is a lot you can learn from a failure, and it looks like he did. It looks like he genuinely learned some lessons and grew. We are not looking like the 10 men behind the ball, defend at all costs team that we would see when Moyes was the manager 10, 15 years ago. We now look more balanced. We have more attack and defense flowing together. I want to say it was Big Dunk interviewing Moyes, and I want to say Pickford was with him, and Dunk was saying, so the big question, do we have any money to spend this summer? And Moyes said, well, basically the Friedkin group have said, yeah, we've got something, we don't know exactly how much, or he might know how much, but obviously he's not going to say that publicly. It's going to be interesting to see what happens this summer. We've got 2 games left. The last one at historic Goodison Park next week is going to be, even watching it is going to be we'll feel the energy. Out here in Iowa, I'll feel it. It'll be a nice ending for Goodison. And hopefully we go out with a bang, closing with a win. The new stadium is looking amazing. Test games have gone on. Everything is going to plan. Then the final game of the season is 2 weeks. 2 weeks tomorrow, actually. I think it's the Sunday. And that is at Newcastle. I want to say it's Newcastle. So we have a little bit to play for in that we could potentially go up 1 spot, or we could fall I think it's 2 spots, possibly 3 spots in the table. And every table position, as we know, is an extra 2 to 3 million in prize money. So if we lose the next 2 games and the 2 teams below us win and they go above us, that's a loss of almost 6 million. So we have something to play for, but it's also not the pressure of a few years ago. 2 years ago, I was actually on vacation with a bunch of my family members, and my dad and my sister, who are Reds fans, were in the room with me. We had 2 laptops. They were watching the Everton game as well, and it's so funny because I was sitting there going, we're getting relegated. We're going to lose. We're getting relegated. This is the worst. Like, this is bad. You don't understand our season. We can't play. We have been so bad for like 10 seasons now, however many seasons it was. You don't understand Everton. They love to break our hearts. Like, we're going to get relegated. And my dad and my sister were like, they're not. They're going to be fine. The Premier League wouldn't be the Premier League without Everton. They're going to be okay. They're going to be safe. Like, trying to encourage me. I could barely watch. I was sitting there with like my hands over my face for some of it, like this, kind of like glancing up through my fingers. So nervous. This is a different feeling, and I like it. I like that we are not worrying about being relegated. We were safe numerically, somewhere between 2 and 4 weeks ago. So let me know your thoughts, Blues, if you made it this far. Thank you. As always, Be kind to yourself.